Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Harris! What a finish, what a goal! Davies crossing the skate, headed back, good save from Olsen.
Hello and welcome to Cardiff City Stadium as the Bluebirds are at home to Wigan Athletic this afternoon. JP is alongside me today. It's a little bit windy, so we're up here on the gantry. Before we get started on the preview, the team sheets are out, so we'll go through the Bluebirds starting 11. We've got Ryan Allsop, Ryan Wintle, Joe Rowles as captain, Shea Ojo, Callum Adauda, Curtis Nelson, Jaden Philogene, Jack Simpson, Mark Harris, Perry NG and Isaac Davis. Quite a few changes from the cup game as expected, but some have kept their places. Shea Ojo has kept his starting position after that fantastic goal against Leeds. And we've also got Isaac Davis, who's making his first league start since coming back from injury. And Curtis Nelson is starting as well. What do you make of that starting 11?
It's an interesting one, Ali. I like the fact that certain players played themselves into the team last week. I'm surprised Andy Renamotta isn't in there. I thought he was absolutely superb last week, and that's not to say anything against Ryan Wintle and Joe Rowles, who have been plus points this year, particularly Ryan Wintle. But I still am a big believer in you play yourself into a team, you give the manager a reason to pick you. And I thought Andy Renamotta did that last week. I thought he was superb. But it is what it is. There's still two good quality midfielders in there in Rowles and Wintle. Really pleased to see Shea Ojo keep his place. Inconsistent is the word to describe Shea Ojo this season. We know he's got talent. We saw that during his first loan spell here. But it's been a little bit hot and cold this year, as have the whole Cardiff City team. He played as a number 10 last week rather than a wide player. We'll wait to see how they line up today, because of course Mark Harris could play in that number 10 role. But I like to think it's Shea Ojo in the 10. He played very well as it last week. He got into the box, he scored a goal. He was making a lot of good runs beyond the striker. So I'd like to see him be given that remit again today. So yeah, some pluses, some surprises, but it's still a team that, if they play like they did last week, they should go out and win what is a crucial match this afternoon.
Yeah, it is a crucial match, especially down the bottom half of the table. Wigan are bottom currently. So this is an opportunity for Cardiff, but they should be going into this game with confidence due to their performance against what is a Premier League side of Leeds last week.
It was very impressive. You can make arguments that maybe Leeds weren't going full pelt. They changed their side a little bit. I do think there's an argument that maybe in the Championship you get less time on the ball. Premiership side, perhaps there was more time to play a bit of football last week, and I thought Cardiff looked good. Will you still have the same circumstances in what's going to be a blood and guts relegation battle today? Perhaps not. But yeah, they've got to take confidence from last weekend. They maybe should have won the match. Last kick of the game sees a replay at Ellen Road, but they created chances, which, to be fair, since we came back from the World Cup break, we've been creating chances, just not taking them. Last week they took them. Long may that continue today.
Yeah, and that Ellen Road Wednesday, that game's happening. But on to today's match, Cardiff need the win. They haven't had a win since November the 5th with that 1-0 win against Sunderland. It's important now. Every point at this stage of the season matters.
Oh, well, I think Cardiff City, and I don't mean to be a messenger of doom here. At the moment, Cardiff have got to accept the fact they're in a relegation fight. Wigan have. I was reading their pre-match comments, managers and players, fighting for the cause. They won't take a step back. We know we're in a fight to stay in this division. I think Cardiff maybe think they shouldn't be in that fight. They should be better than that. And some of the football they played, I think there's an argument for that. But we are where we are. We're close to the relegation places. It's very hard the other side of Christmas, which we are now, to drag yourself away from that. Once you're in those places, come the post-Christmas period, you tend to be fighting there to the end of the season. It's a huge match today, and Cardiff have got to realise it's a blood and thunder. Ali, and I don't mean to put the viewers off, I don't think this will be the highest quality football match we've ever seen today. I think it'll be a real dogged affair. Hopefully Cardiff prove me wrong, but I think this is going to be a case of who steps up, who wants it, who wins the midfield battle, who's prepared to put their foot in, who's prepared to go the extra mile. And if you come away with a 1-0 win and it's an awful match, who cares, quite frankly? So it's about result, not performance today for me. Performance was great last week against Leeds. If it's an awful game today but Cardiff win 1-0, Ali, I'll go home happy on a Saturday night.
Do you think we're going to see some goals today? Wigan have been conceding a lot. They've conceded 4 goals in their last 3 games.
I would have said yes, but Carlo Toure changed it a little bit last weekend in the cup game against Luton and packed the midfield a little bit more. He had to do something. They'd lost 3 consecutive games 4-1. You can't keep conceding goals like that. They've also brought in an ex-Bluebird in Stephen Colker, who goes immediately into the team, and he's had a little bit of a transient career, but he's a quality player, so he'll make a difference. So Wigan can be got at. We know they can see goals, but I think there was a lot of optimism reading their local press last weekend about how the fact they went almost to a 4-5-1, or they certainly packed the midfield, they packed bodies, they did defensive duties first, they got the ball away from the danger area, they didn't try and overplay, and they were better as a result, and that's what I expect them to do today. So hopefully it's the Wigan team from a Cardiff perspective that lost 3 4-1 games. But if it's the team and the mentality that they played against Luton in the Cup last weekend, it might be a little tougher for Cardiff than perhaps we would have thought a few weeks ago.
Yeah, because they made 3 changes today from that Cup game. As you mentioned, Stephen Colker, former Bluebird, in there, just signed him straight into the starting 11. Charlie Hughes is on, and Will Keane. Do you think they're going to go with similar tactics?
I think, looking at it, I think it's a 4-2-3-1, which has been the formation Carlo Toure has played every game bar the Cup game. But I think he's going to use power in a slightly different role. Yeah, he could play as the number 10, but I actually think he's going to act as a third midfielder, and they're going to pack the lines. It's going to be a 4-5-1, really, when Cardiff have the ball, when Wigan don't have the ball. They're going to look to frustrate Cardiff, win the ball back, subdue Cardiff, get through the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, frustrate this Cardiff crowd, and look to hit on the break. If Cardiff take their chances like they did last weekend, I think Cardiff will create chances. Well, maybe we'll be a goal, 2 goals up by then. If we don't take our chances, if we're not clinical, if it's a repeat of some of the games over Christmas, well, you're always giving your opponents a fighting chance. And Wigan are exactly the same as Cardiff, Ali. If they play appallingly today, if it's the worst game in the world, but they travel back home with a 1-0 win, well, there'll be celebration. So, again, for me, it's results, not performance.
And at this stage of the season, the table is so tight. I mean, there's 10 points between the relegation zone and the top half of the table.
It is, and that's why Cardiff are still looking up, and it's good to be that ambitious. And I do think Cardiff have quality in this squad, and you could argue, should we be where we are? Well, the league table, particularly now this time of year, doesn't lie. We are where we are. Yes, there's the opportunity to climb the table, but first of all, we've got to be realistic. We've got to recognise where we are. We've got to recognise the job in hand. Currently, we're in a relegation battle. Have that mentality. Go, be solid defensively, create chances, take them when they come, and recognise we've got to claw ourselves away. If we can finish the league table in May further up, fantastic. But at the moment, Ali, priority 1, get away from the relegation zone.
Yeah, and this is the series, and they don't want to be leaving it any later in the season to be starting to get those wins and climbing that table.
No, like I said, when you get past Christmas, you tend to find that the teams down the bottom are the teams down the bottom. Cardiff, they may have the quality, you could argue, particularly in the first 2/3 of the field, not to be there. They haven't scored enough goals. They are where they are. That's got to change, and it's got to change quickly.
Well, as always, manager Mark Hudson gave us his preview on today's game.
I thought the atmosphere was outstanding. I thought the noise level, could feel it, could feel the excitement for it. It's difficult to come to every game, but the more we can pack out our home ground and get our fans behind us, and we can excite them and play like we did, then yeah, I would be welcomed by everyone. Us as staff, players, it makes a difference to them. They can feel all united and together with it. If we can continue that, then I've got no doubt that we go on to win games and like you said, to keep that momentum going. So it's been sort of a return to play over the last couple of days, really. So yeah, still to be assessed with what amount of minutes they can get tomorrow. Oh, they're all back in the building, so they're all back on the grass as of yesterday. A small group yesterday that I took, so that was their first session. So they're all back in the building. If we play like we have done, we play like we did against Leeds, then we'll put ourselves in a good, give ourselves a good opportunity to win the game. We know that we need to pick up wins, but our focus is on how we do that. And then if for the players to be clear in what their game plan is and to carry that out. You want to be sat here in my position, having everyone fit and raring to go and proving that they can do it at that. Well, that was the highest level against a really good Leeds team. So the selection decision and with where people are at, they've got a full, I think, 22-man squad that are really raring to go and want to be in the team. So everyone's desperate to be in the squad for whatever game it is. So yeah, Wigan first, we're focused on that. And then we'll see how we turn them around for what would be a big occasion on the Wednesday night. It's important. He's recovered well. He's worked so hard to get into that position to be able to do that. So testament to him and his work ethic and the way he carries himself. He's recovered well and he feels good.
Right, Ash is with me now and we're going to talk a little bit more about the Wigan team. As I mentioned, there's been 3 changes since their cup outing. This is an important game for them. They're bottom of the league and they're going to be thinking this is an opportunity for them to get a win.
Yeah, in many ways the FA Cup came at a really good time for them. You know, much like the Leeds game could prove to be a galvanising effect for Cardiff. They stopped the rot, if nothing else, with that spirited draw at Luton. It means they actually play Luton midweek and then next weekend again coming out of it. But you know, otherwise they'd be coming into this game with 3 straight defeats and having conceded 4 goals in 3 straight games either. So not ideal preparation for what, let's face it, is a relegation 6-pointer here this afternoon.
And what do you make of their starting 11 and the changes that they've made?
I think they've had injuries. They've got players coming back, crucially, for Kolo Toure. Now, that could be really well timed for the manager. He's had some team selections, maybe for the first time since he's taken charge of this club. It's interesting for me, up top, that he's decided to go with his 2 most mobile strikers. So Callum Lang, Will Keane, who is the top scorer and is in great form, against Simpson and Nelson, who maybe might have been picked this afternoon, obviously have been picked off the back of their performances a week ago, but might have expected to gone up against a McGuinness, maybe an Ashley Fletcher, somebody with a bit more height and aerial ability, but he's gone with his 2 mobile strikers, so that could pose Cardiff a different problem maybe than we're expecting midweek.
Their manager, he hasn't had a win yet. He's had 6 games to be his 7th. He's still looking for that win, so this is an important game for him to prove himself, to be looking to get that team that's going to start bringing in the points for them.
It is. I mean, huge pressure. Like anything in football, the results are going against you. The last thing you need is that snowballing and keeping going. You know, he's proven himself as an assistant. You know, he had a good tenure starting at Celtic, moving into Leicester with Brendan Rodgers. He's a talented coach. You know, you speak to a lot of people in the game, and he was really valued by Brendan Rodgers, who's a great coach in his own right. So he's got talent, clearly. He's lacking results at the moment. So, you know, they'll be viewing this as an opportunity to come to Cardiff here this afternoon at a ground where the Bluebirds have struggled, not just this season, in recent seasons, you know, to really turn this into the cauldron that we know it can be. Results haven't been great. Performances have been better than that, I think. But you look at what we produced, certainly for 70 minutes last week against Leeds, and you know, there's a blueprint there, and that's what you've got to carry into this game today. Certainly in terms of the threat that Cardiff carried forward in the counter-attack. As I've mentioned already, they are leaking goals, Wigan. They've made changes to the back line again this afternoon, which I'm sure we'll come on to, but you have to view this as an opportunity to really start with some front foot football and put pressure on Wigan early.
And do you think that should be the focus for Wigan today, the fact that they have been conceding so many goals in recent league games? the fact that they need to try and keep a clean sheet and not concede so many.
They've made 3 signings this week, and we know that certainly in January, signings have a galvanising effect on a squad. Stephen Corker is as experienced a player as you're going to get at this level to come in. He's rightly very fondly thought of in these parts. He's had his problems off the field, which has kind of hindered his career, but he's a supremely talented centre-half. He's done really well in Turkish football in the last 4 years, but it's been 7 years nearly since he's played English football, let alone Championship football. So it'll be interesting to see whether he can hit the ground running this afternoon. I think playing in the middle of a back three will help him. It hides some of his deficiencies. Even when he was playing at Cardiff and playing well, he struggled going out into the full-back areas and being stretched in that regard. So having some legs either side of him, young Charlie Hughes will probably play to the right of him this afternoon, Curtis Hill to the left. So that'll help some of those deficiencies, and it means he doesn't have to cover as much ground. He can just concentrate on patrolling that 18-yard area. But in terms of a recruit with experience, much like Rotherham have done up the road and got away with a 3-0 win this afternoon, they've gone for experience, and there aren't many more experienced than the likes of Corker out there.
Do you think that the Bluebirds, as well as last week's performance against Leeds, will be taking confidence from the fact that last time they played, Cardiff got the win?
I'll be honest.
Back in October.
I'll be honest, I don't know. Wigan have been wretched, pretty much. They actually won the game after that, so they bounced back. That was a really good Cardiff performance on the afternoon. There was plenty of vigour. Cardiff looked really good on the counter-attack, which could hold them in good stead here this afternoon. They were a little bit open going the other way, but it made for a really exciting game of football. And then Wigan bounced back and actually won the next game against Blackburn 1-0. They've won 1 game in 14 since then. They haven't kept a clean sheet since then. So we are catching Wigan at a very, very good time in the season, and it does allow us an opportunity to really put some points difference between the two teams, because let's make, there's no hiding the fact Cardiff are in a relegation fight as it stands, and Wigan are the bottom team in this division. In terms of recent record, in terms of within the context of this season, we know how to hurt this Wigan team. In terms of, and how much weight you put on recent results, I don't know, but Cardiff have only won 2 games this century against Wigan. They're not a team we tend to do well against historically.
Yeah, this part of the season, as I mentioned earlier, the table is so tight from the bottom to the top half. This is the time when Cardiff really need to start getting points on the board and start making regular wins and getting into a rhythm of winning.
Yeah, I take wins at this point, not even regular wins, to be honest. I think we're maybe looking a little too far ahead of us. Fans get excited, don't they? They just think, they see how congested it is, and you think, put some wins together. I'm of the opinion that Cardiff are in a relegation fight now until this is it for the season. I don't see that you're suddenly going to put a run of games together and put some distance and start looking up the table. You need to start picking up important wins when it matters, and it doesn't matter more than this afternoon against a really poor Wigan team.
Well, fingers crossed for this afternoon. Earlier this week, I caught up with Andrew Inamoto, who won Man of the Match against Leeds, and he gave us his thoughts on today's game. So Andy, Wigan Athletic are the opponents this weekend. How much are you looking forward to this match?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it a lot. I think we're just trying to get back in after the cup game into the league ways and try and start picking points and moving up the table. So I think starting that on Wigan on Saturday will be the place to begin. Now, the Bluebirds played Wigan in October, 3-1 win, which is great going into this game. What did you make of them last time, and what are you expecting from them on Saturday? Yeah, I think when we went up to their place, they made it difficult, made it a tough game for us. Like I said, thankfully we came away with that 3-1 win, so hopefully we'll just be trying to implement our style again, and they're coming here this time, so hopefully we'll be able to get on the ball and create chances and get some goals. Looking at the league, it's a big game, it's an important game to win, and it's an opportunity because they've conceded a lot of goals in their recent games. Do you think that it's a good time for this game to come and a good opportunity for Cardiff to get some points and also score some goals, because they've conceded, I think, 4 goals in the last 3 games they've had? Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to really test them and put a lot of pressure on them defensively if they have conceded a lot of goals. So hopefully we can add to that ourselves we're just on the back of scoring 2 goals, so hopefully we can take that momentum from the cup game into this one and then further on into the league games after that as well.
How are the preparations going for the game this weekend with the team?
Yeah, I think we've had a good week build up so far. We've been working on a few things and just trying to really exploit how they play and work on what we've been doing so far and just keep improving it each day in training. So I think it's been a good week of preparation and hopefully we can show that now on Saturday.
Now there's some big games coming up over the next few weeks. It's an important time for the Bluebirds to start getting points.
Yeah, I think we're getting further on into the season now, and although the table is still tight, we don't want to be leaving it to any later than we already are. So hopefully now we can just get a win on Saturday and then just keep building on. I think once you get that first win, just trying to keep going and building on that momentum, like I keep saying it, but I think this league's massive for that. If you can get a good run of games, and then once you're doing well, we can just keep going and keep the flow going. So I think just getting that first one or even like a back-to-back would be helpful. So literally just full focus on this game and hopefully we can kick on from there.
Just a mention of the fans in the cup game. They were fantastic. How important will they be going forwards for this game on Saturday, to get behind the team? Yeah,
they've been great so far this season. Even a lot of the away games we've had, there's always fans there. Like the Blackburn one just gone before the cup game, 12 o'clock kick-off midday, and there's still fans that made it up. So got to give a lot of credit to them. And even the cup game then back at our own place was loud all the way until the end. I mean, they were very supportive, even though the result didn't go how they would have hoped when we were 2-0 up, but still backed us towards the end. And even after the game, when the players are going around applauding them, they were showing us real support and can't thank them enough.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Vogel finishes. Great adjustment. First touch finish. Here's a lovely flowing move from Cardiff down the left-hand side.
Some of approval from Harris. The ball. We get it back now from Windle from midfield. Edge of the area, looks to spin away from the defender. Went to his knees. Referee not convinced, nothing given. Simpson on halfway. Play into the feet of Nkanku. Two men in front of him, takes the ball into traffic, does well to stud it away from Robinson, gets it back centrally, finds Robinson centrally, and Robinson tucks home, edge of the 6-yard box. Amos came out but was too slow, and it's a beautifully well worked goal from Cardiff City.
Shot on does. Back is still there, he's still there for Rolls and scores! Cardiff season underway, and just like he did last weekend against Leeds, it's Joe Rolls on the score sheet early doors. 20 minutes on the clock, Cardiff City lead.
We're stood over it now. Bungee's left it to Windle. What's the thinking here? Windle, but he just smash it low. Oh, he scores! Everyone's expecting Windle to just smash it low across goal and hope for a touch, and in the end he's hammered it high at the near post instead, and it's worked its way in.
Cut out by Pearce on the edge of his own area, giving the ball back to Al-Habsi. He clears left-footed into the centre circle. Gunnarsson wins it, knocks it forward to Jones. Gunnarsson gets it back, goes forward strongly. Still going forward, he could score here. He does score! It's 1-0 to Cardiff City. Aaron Gunnarsson.
The best way of putting this is if you take all the best parts of Aaron Gunnarsson's defensive game, his strength, his battling qualities, the way he goes through them. That was what that goal was all about. He won the ball, he shouldn't have won it. He went through 2 or 3 tackles, he shouldn't have got through them. When he got to the penalty area, calm, collected, lovely right-footed shot into the corner of the goal. You don't see Aaron Gunnarson score goals like that. He's usually headers or shots from inside the area. You don't really...
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Good afternoon, welcome to Cardiff City TV, welcome to the Cardiff City Stadium for this afternoon's championship encounter between the Bluebirds and Wigan Athletic. Bottom of the championship table, Cardiff just above the drop zone as we go into kick-off, courtesy of Rotherham United's 3-0 win over Blackburn Rovers in the early kick-off this afternoon. It means Cardiff City and Bristol City already looking a little bit more nervously over their shoulder than they were a couple of hours to go. Have an opportunity though, of course, this afternoon to put some distance between themselves and correct that fact. The Wigan Athletic side with 1 win in 14, and of course who Cardiff beat at the DW Stadium back in October in a pulsating 3-1 victory that afternoon. We welcome the two teams here this afternoon, led out by captains Max Power and of course Joe Rolls. Depends how much weight you put in historic meetings between these two teams, or between any two teams. It's not been pretty over the years for Cardiff. Just 2 wins this century in 16 games. But of course, you've only got to look at October for the most recent. Callum Robinson, Shea Ojo, Ryan Wintle on the score sheet that time. And 2 of them start this afternoon. Mark Hudson has kept faith in the team that performed so well 6 days ago against Leeds United. Curtis Nelson and Jack Simpson continue to be paired together at the back. Perry and G is back in the side though, back at right back. And there's also a starting spot for Isaac Davis. And the 2 scorers from a week ago, Shea Ojo and Jaden Philogene, once again line up in attack. Callum O'Dowda reverts back to the left back position. Nielsen Kanku has returned to his parent club, Everton. Better news on the bench as well for Cardiff this afternoon when Callum Robinson and Keon Etet both feature. For Wigan, 3 changes from their 1-1 draw in the Cup with Luton a week ago. Noticeable change. Former Cardiff City captain Stephen Colker, who comes in for a Wigan debut at the heart of a back 3. It's an experienced championship midfield trio of Jordan Cousins and Max Power either side of Tom Naylor. And Kolo Toure, just in his 7th game as manager, goes with the more fleet-footed approach in attack. So that's Callum Lang and current top scorer Will Keane. 4 in fact former Bluebirds in the matchday squad for Wigan. Ben Amos once a